Hi everyone, this is episode 27 of the Quick Resume podcast. Today, there's more Halo. There's Battle Pass leaks for Halo. There's Japanese games. There's much more. My name is Deck. I'm joined by the Grapple Master, the Commando, Tim.
Damn.
Hi, man.
Hey, man. That's both the things I love in Halo the most.
I know.
Thanks,
what can I say? My improv is getting better week by week, it's always going to be to do with what we've been playing. It's pretty predictable.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm good, man. I'm good. Well, I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm good, but I've been a little bit sicky over the last few days, which is kind of annoying because obviously I booked some time off work just to sort of. I think I mentioned it in the last episode that I was just going to like chug through my backlog or play some single player games or something, and just take some time off work because I haven't for a while. And of course, I fall sick on my time off.
Sucks.
It's just classic, really, isn't it? So
some workplaces let you claim it back. I don't know if that's the thing.
Probably
I do that at my
not.
work. I feel like if you're sick enough to have had to take work off on your holiday, they let you take it back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, doctor's note.
No, I haven't been that sick, to be honest. It's been like, just where you just
enough to be annoying.
Yeah, where you just feel tired. You just feel sort of like groggy, and there's a bit of a headache behind the eyes, and my throat's been giving me the most jip, to be honest. But yeah, it hasn't been too bad. But yeah, just a little bit down in the dumps, really. And yeah, I mean, sort of gaming wise, this week. I mean, like I said, I've been a little bit sick, so I've been just watching a load of TV and just sort of melting into my bed. But I've also been playing quite a lot of Final Fantasy still, so I'm probably like over 20 hours into that now.
Kept you sane.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think it's about a 50 odd hour campaign. I think so. I'm closer.
50.
I'm close to like halfway.
That is too long.
You think 50 is too long? I don't know. I think for a JRPG with good storytelling and good characters, I think it's fine. And I feel like that's the industry standard for a JRPG. I think people aren't happy unless it's at least 40 hours. Like at least 40, 50.
I mean, I've said before on the podcast that I think like somewhere between 15 and 20 hours is like perfect. But it does depend because like if you can keep up good storytelling for a long time and the gameplay doesn't get like, rusty and old, then yeah. But it's just, I always feel that like regardless of how good the game is, I always have a hump at like 20, 25 hours where I'm like, I don't want to keep playing. And then I keep playing and I'm like, oh no, this is actually still really good. I just get a bit fatigued, that's all.
Yeah, I think that's kind of normal, especially when we're quite like social gamers. So we always have other things drawing our attention away a little bit. We're never just 100% Final Fantasy. It's always like, a little bit of Apex, or a little bit of Halo Infinite, or a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and it pulls it makes that whole 50-hour journey seem just insanely bigger than it actually is.
I've also it's double annoying because I've also got this like I like made a deal with myself that like I've got to finish a game if I start it. So when I know a game is that long, I'm like, oh my god, it's such a commitment. Ever since I completed Witcher 3, because like that was a massive game, and I was like, holy shit, like why don't I finish games? So like that's why I find it hard.
Yeah, it is quite tough, and it is quite daunting, especially for someone who doesn't finish games. But I'm still enjoying it.
Exactly.
So apart from that, I tried a little bit of Lemsipgate with you. That's obviously, we call it Lemsipgate because I was sick when we first tried it, and we were just calling it all sorts of stuff. We were calling it like Lemongate.
I don't know if like is that just a UK thing? Is Lemsip like?
I'm pretty sure
Lemsip, is that just a UK thing?
I'm pretty sure it's. I mean, I wouldn't know, to be honest. I've never, but I would think it's multinational. Do you? Okay. Anyone listening? If you're not in the UK, and do you have a hot lemon drink that helps with colds and flus?
That soothes your throat. Yeah. Sponsor us now.
Yeah. So yeah, we've been playing some Lemnis Gate, which was okay. My experience with that game was okay. It was fun. I was playing it with you. I mean, most games are fun when I play them with you.
Yeah.
Exactly. There you go. It's the horrible. I got it over and done with. The compliment.
Yes, he said it
nice and early.
live on stream.
So yeah, that was pretty fun, but obviously it has its flaws. It's pretty jank both in matchmaking and in gameplay. And I think I was saying this to you. I think we played it for about 3 or 4 hours. I think I would probably give it about 6 from my experience with it. I think if they could polish up the gameplay a bit, and the matchmaking worked at least half the time, I'd probably bump up to about 7.5. I think.
See, I think that's brutal. I think that's absolutely brutal. I think that's like arm on the chopping block, because not even any points for like innovation.
Dude,
there's nothing like it on the market.
If they polished up a bit of the gameplay, a 7.5 is a very good score. Like, that's considered a very good game. Just because it's not in the 8s.
It's a dead game for a multiplayer game.
I don't know. It's very innovative, sure, but that's the only thing carrying it right now. It's jank in so many ways. Like, I can't just be like, oh, it's innovative 8. It's just like, no, that's the only thing carrying it. Like, I don't know. It's a 6.
I guess I found, like, like I said to you before, like, it's a strategy game first and a shooter game second, and like I've never played. I don't feel like I've played a strategy game like it before. I feel like I'm playing chess, and it's really, but I'm like shooting and it's cool.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, like the shooting is shit. Like there's no way around it. It is shit.
It
but
feels like a bug.
There weren't. I can't really count that many times where like I tried to kill someone and couldn't because I was fighting the controls. Like it didn't feel good, but you did have to set yourself up in positions that, like it was hard to burst people across the map because you're like, I'm just not going to be able to hit that. You had to run, like you had to like barrel stuff people to like because you knew you wouldn't. So like there was aim assist there and stuff. Like it still doesn't feel good, but I think this most of the time it's like use of abilities and that makes that strategy work. I don't know. I think it's like when you finish a game, you're like, man, let's get into the next one. I want to see what I can do. There's just a lot of possibilities there. I'm definitely with you. The matchmaking was, I don't know why it was so.
Oh yeah, at one point we had 5 queues and one of them worked. Or was it 4 queues? I don't know. It was like a 20% success rate. We kept getting put into games where we were obviously queuing as a 2, and then we were put on opposite teams. So I didn't really want to fight against you. That was weird.
So weird.
And then we had one game where it was 2v2, but we for whatever reason had a third. I don't know how that happened. Yeah, it's just jank, man. But it's good, and I do enjoy it. But it has its unbalances as well. Some classes are clearly like really tuned up over other ones, like characters you can pick. Like they're very good. They're crutches. There's unbalanced in terms of whether or not you get the last turn or not. That's so powerful in that game. I feel like some of the objective game modes are a bit unbalanced in the sense of the bomb one where you have to destroy the bombs is way easier to defend than it is to attack. All these sort of things just bump it down a little bit, but it's just polish. The game's fine.
But you play both sides though with that sort of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But it's still, yeah. I don't know. It's fine.
I get you. It's a hard one to pin, but I guess I'm like, I think the core loop is fun. Like regardless, I think every character has a place. I think it makes you think. It forces you to do cool and innovative things like that are really rewarding when you pull it off, and it's wicked that you can do that in co-op, like 2-player. Like you don't get strategy games like 2-player ever. And it does. There are times where we made plays where like you pull something off and you're both like, holy shit, that's changed everything, and suddenly the whole game is back on its heels. And you get that like often. So yeah, I think I'd probably give it like a 7.5 to begin with. I think this game has like a possible polish up the jank and the aiming. I don't even feel like it needs more content. It's got loads of maps, loads of modes. It's got plenty in it.
Yeah.
It's just it's literally just the jank and the matchmaking for me. I think there's a really solid game there. I think that game could take off, but nobody's playing it. Nobody knows what it is.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. But
I think that could be easily be bumped up to an 8 or an 8.5.
I do think it is, it's definitely worth a shout out for anyone who hasn't played it or has looked over it. Go onto Games Pass and give it a download. Obviously, it's a Games Pass game as well, so it's not
Perfect Games Pass game.
It's not going to cost you anything. Grab your buddy. Is it only 2v2, or can you do like 3v3, 4v4?
Yeah, two's the highest you can go.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, but don't be put off by it if like you see that if you think it looks like a hero shooter, because it's not. As I say, it is a strategy game first. If you're not good at shooters, like don't worry about it. Like it helps to shoot, but the most important thing is like positioning and planning in that game, which I think is really cool. So yeah, definitely give it a download on Games Pass. Really fun. I do like playing it. Tim's gobbling a sandwich for the audio listeners out there, so he's put his thumb up to give me the go ahead.
Yeah.
What have you got in your sandwich, man?
I've got some prosciutto ham.
Oh my god!
I'm a little posh boy. To be honest, it was the quickest thing I could have just whacked into a sandwich because I was pretty strapped for time to get home. So,
man, what a life!
I know.
Reaching into the fridge and just finding some prosciutto.
I guess I'll have to settle for prosciutto ham.
Yeah,
Jeez.
fuck's sake!
It's not even Iberico; it's fucking Serrano. Jesus.
Oh god! Everyone listening, none of them know what you just said.
They're just different types of cured ham. Basically, the Iberico is the more expensive one for anyone who does want to know.
Wow. Yeah, nobody wants to divulge. Well, okay, well.
We're a ham podcast.
We're a ham podcast. We were a pumpkin podcast a couple of weeks back. It's spooky time now, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. I've already got a spooky game on download. Yeah. I'm gonna...
Wait, which one?
Well, no, I mean, I went on to Microsoft Rewards, and one of the games was to like get achievement on one of these games, and it was Alien Isolation. So I was just like, it's Spooktober, I'll give it a go. If it hooks me, then I'll play it through. I don't think it's going to be a very long game either. So
Undertale is the best horror game. So
I don't want to say Undertale sucks. I'm going to get fucking gutted.
Don't say it.
I'm going to get gutted by the whole internet.
It's worth it just for the... I said it to you the other day, but the first 2 minutes of that game are so good.
I heard the whole game is very good. I've avoided
the whole game is good, but the first 2 minutes is just like you can't not be hooked. Like, because it's dumb. Like, you boot it up and it's dumb. You can count the pixels. You're like a stupid like girl with like no animations. It's just dumb. So anyway, yeah. So Spookytober, Alien Isolation. What have I been doing? Nothing really, just Halo and trying to get to the end of the Apex Battle Pass.
Yeah, nice.
I hate it.
It becomes a chore at this point, doesn't it?
Yeah, they always like. I feel so entrapped by Battle Passes when like I've moved on from a game, like for a breather. Like when we're not actually playing Apex every week in the moment,
I know.
And I'm just like, man, I have to finish it because it's my money's worth. And I know I'm falling for the sunk cost fallacy, but I just can't help it.
Yeah,
I'm weak.
But hey.
Sucks, man.
Next season.
Well, next season. So this, I mean, I know we've been speaking about it every week, but I can't not speak about it because it's bringing me so much joy, and that is the next flighting, the big team battle Halo flighting, man. If anybody wants to hear like our like big breakdown of impressions, we did this last week. That was obviously for sort of like the Social Arena 4v4 playlist, but we went through every part of the game like categorically from gunplay to movement, equipment, guns. So we're not going to do that again here. But before we sort of get into this, I just want to like really soak it all in, because when I'm on Twitter now, I'm seeing so many like YouTubers, influencers, like maybe who aren't usually in the Halo space, like posting about it, and they're just like enthralled by it, and it just brings me so much joy. And you just see like dumb clips, you see people just doing shit, and it's that. I think that's exactly what they wanted when they developed not just the game, but like the Slip Space engine. They wanted the game to have these sorts of moments. The same with Sea of Thieves. Just sort of the what word do they use? I can't remember the word they use, where it's like, when basically just like shit happens like spontaneously, and it makes for good moments that are like shareable, so it adds to the virality of like the campaign for it, the marketing, and that's like 100% what's happening, because like every couple of things I'm scrolling through, whether it's on Reddit or Twitter or whatever, I'm seeing another clip of just someone having a great time. So I just wanted to give a shout out. I don't know if you've been finding the same.
Oh yeah, dude. This flighting has probably been the best one for me. To be honest, I love
Well, that's
the BTV. I think it's great. I think the whole vehicles coming into it is awesome. Excuse me for wiping my nose. I am sick. Yeah, no, I think it's definitely been the most fun flying so far. And yeah, I've had so many of those moments. I mean, I think it was last night where I did something kind of cool. Like it wasn't insane, but it was just some guy like crouching above me with a grav hammer, and I didn't know he was there. And then he like dropped on me to flatten my head, and I just like reaction repulsed him away, and then just like 5-shot him to the head with a commando while he was flying backwards. And it was just
so
like
good.
I think I literally just screamed, "This is the best Halo!"
You did,
Yeah,
you did shout that.
And it's just shit like that, which is just like pure outplays. And I've been having so much fun with fusion coils as well. Which if
Man.
343 are listening, fusion coil kills should go towards me. If I hurl a coil at someone's face and he explodes, it should not be a suicide in the kill feed, please. So I know there's some 343 employees out there watching this, so just fix that, please.
Yeah, we're pretty huge. We're a big deal.
Yeah.
You'll have to submit it on the feedback when it comes through on the emails.
Yeah, because that wasn't cool. I literally just hurled one at someone's head like last night, and he just exploded. And I was like, no, and I was like, where are my points? Where are my accolades? I was like, surely I'll get a cool like accolade for that, like a cool medal. And it was just like I looked at the feed, it just said suicide. I was like, well, that was garbage. I still had fun, but that was garbage.
Yeah, that sucks.
But
yeah. So I mean, I think this is I think this is probably the flighting that has. I mean, like the other flightings definitely were like a big deal. Like Halo was everywhere, but I think Big Team Battle has really blown the lid off it because it's that kind of game. It's that chaos game mode, right? You know, it's the chaos one, which is really accessible. It's no biggie. It's really casual. And you know, you have like layers on layers of that sort of sandbox because of the vehicles, and way more access to equipment because you have more charges in your equipment and you have way more access to other weapons, right?
yeah, 100%.
But you always have like a commando or BR in your hands, basically.
Yeah.
So I guess let's just start with the BTB. I mean, we obviously have one map. Can't remember the name of it.
Let's just call it Valhalla. I forgot.
Valhalla.
Oh no, it's called like
2.0.
Energy Punch, Energy something.
Energy Punch.
Energy, like it was called Energy something.
Was it?
Hang on.
All right, fair enough.
You carry on.
All right, great. Well, I mean, because I was going to ask you about your impressions of Big Team Battle, but
I guess I'll just carry it then. Jesus
do it, man.
Christ.
Sorry, you go. I'll find the name.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So, B2B for me. Oh no, it's called Fragmentation.
Well. Fragmentation. Yeah, that makes
Fragmentation. Sense. I got it. I'll do everything on this damn podcast. Okay. Yeah. So BTB for me, obviously, like I said, I think it's been the best flighting so far. So I think it's been the best game mode so far. There was definitely a point last night. You were like, "Oh, do you want to queue some social arena?" I was like, "Shut up! Get us in BTB now." Yeah, it's just great, man. I think the whole this was the first time obviously we've had the whole ecosystem of all the vehicles. Mongooses, warthogs, ghosts, even scorpions, wasps, everything at our disposal at some point in the match. And I think it just flows really well. I don't think anything is oppressive or overpowered. Maybe the ghost slightly, but there's a lot more tools to deal with it in BTB. Whereas I think when we played it on Social Arena, it was just like you had to kind of just like shoot the guy with an AR. Like it was a lot harder to actually deal with it.
More room as well, more room to hide.
Yeah, exactly. So it felt definitely a lot less oppressive in that regard. But yeah, nothing felt stupid. I wasn't annoyed that I was getting gatlinged by a warthog or getting run over or splattered or anything. I just thought it gelled really well. Obviously, with more access to equipment and more access to guns, you felt more powerful as well to kind of counterbalance enemies having vehicles, everything. Um, and yeah, man, I just really enjoyed it. I thought it was super cool. I had like some great moments where I was like headshotting turret people off the Warthog at like full speed with a sniper. I did that at least twice over the weekend, or two or three times, and yeah, man, it's just really good. It's just really good. The map was very well designed as well. I thought I liked the
Yeah,
whole like
I like
loot
the map.
cave thing you could do where you like hacked it and got a little access to like a little rocket launcher and a active camo or something.
Really cool
Um,
with that. I wonder if there's be one of them on like every BTB map. I think that's a really nice like
I
addition.
think so. Yeah, yeah. I think it'd be kind of cool if there was just something hidden like that, and it's just
Mm.
something to contest for, right? It takes all the pressure out of the mid game for for a lot of the time because sometimes you can get quite clustered around the middle of the map. But then if someone's
Mm.
hacking that, the enemies can see it, so it just draws players to more locations rather than it just feel like a death ball of enemies all the
Yeah,
time.
and
Um,
it's nice.
yeah,
It's nice that it's like another nice use for the AI. I was just gonna say like because you like hacking, your AI pops up and like has a little
yeah.
quip and hacks it.
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah, and I'm pretty sure you can like hear other people's AIs doing it as well, like because you got a different AI to me, and I'm pretty sure I can hear
I think
his
you
voice
can.
lines and stuff, whereas it's my
Yeah.
voice lines for my AI. So yeah, no, it's awesome, man. I don't really have anything bad to say about it. Um, I had a lot of fun.
I mean, yeah. I I have no I have nothing to say against that, but I will no. Yeah. Hmm. The I just wanted to add like the map. I just 'cause I don't think anybody's really talking about this. Maybe it's because like the gameplay is obviously like the dominant feature. Like that's fine. The map's gorgeous. These maps are gorgeous. They're really nice. They're like some of the nicest multiplayer maps I've ever played on. They just look great. Like when you spawn in and there's like rays, the lighting on the map is amazing as well. Like all the shadows and like the trees, and because it's like dynamic, sometimes you'll be like just running and like clouds will go over you. Sometimes you're usually not paying attention to this shit because there's frags and like wasps and warthogs and shit flying around. But it's just really pretty to look at. I don't know
Hmm.
if you ever like stopped and smelled the roses with it, but
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I did for sure. And there's like wildlife running around as well, which is kind of cool. Little packs of these weird guinea pig things you could genuinely like shoot if
yeah,
you wanted to. You like frag a pack of guinea pigs.
yeah,
Um,
space guinea pigs.
yeah, it's just those little touches were really nice, and I agree. The game looked great, as well as played fantastic as well. So
Mm,
kudos to the team on both fronts at 343 for that.
definitely. There's like because there's like occasional as well. Like I don't know what they're called. I asked our Halo nerd friend what they were called, but like the towers that are at both ends of the map
Hmm.
that like launch like the big blue things up into the air. But they've
Yeah,
been in every Halo, but there are two every now and then. I don't know if they like go off when you score or something, or if it's just like time based. But every now and then they'll just like build up and like like explode upwards, and it like looks and sounds so good.
yeah.
Like I spawned once and I was running by and I was, what the fuck is that? I was like, what is that? And I turned around and it just launched up into the sky. And I was just watching. I was like, oh my, like this looks great. I love what they've done with this engine. I just think it looks so clean, and I love how again we spoke about this last week. Like when you get close to stuff, there's so much detail there.
Hmm.
Um, it's just a really nice way to do it. I have no idea what witchcraft they've done to like make it look how it does, but
Yeah,
it just looks great, and it fills me with more confidence for the campaign, like because the campaign is just going to be this, but like ramped up to 11. It's going to be big open plains, fields, like there's no way the campaign is going to look like worse than that, if that makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah. It'll look
It
better. Yeah.
will look in line with that, and if anything, there'll be more open like terrain, so it will look better and like be more fun to explore. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on that because I don't feel like anybody's talking about how good that map like just looks visually. I just think it looks really, really pretty to like go through.
Hmm.
Um, so I wanted to say this is maybe a bit spicy. I think overall, very slightly, I preferred last flighting with Social Arena.
Oh, really?
Very slightly. Yeah, very slightly.
This podcast is over.
And it's hard for it's hard for me to put my finger on exactly why. I think it literally might have just been because half the games we played like last night, I kind of got dicked on. Like it literally might have been that.
Yeah.
Whereas I felt like in Social Arena, I had like they were just quite intense. I don't know, maybe I'm just used to like the pace of like Apex or whatever.
You feel like you just had more control in Social Arena.
A little bit, like sometimes there was just stuff happening, and as well, like so we keep talking about the radar. I thought the radar wouldn't be as much of a problem in Big Team Battle because there's more stuff happening, there's more people, But I actually found it to be a bit more annoying because there's more people. There's like more opportunities. Like there's very rarely there's always someone close to you. Is what I'm trying to say. There's always someone like kind of nearby, and that it kind of emphasizes it, makes it worse, and especially because there's more people. Usually it's more than one, and like if you haven't picked up on two people, you're definitely dead, let alone one. And whereas with Social Arena, I kind of felt like in my head I can manage where the rest of like four people are. So I can see two there. That means that space over there is occupied by two people, roughly, like regardless of what the radar says or not. So, maybe it was that. I don't know, but overall, it was still. I had like an absolute blast. Like I had like an absolute blast on both game modes. I'm just going off like essentially 2 weekends worth of experience. So it's not much. And I think as well, it didn't help that we only had one map for Big Team Battle. I think it would have added a bit more spice to it if we had like 3 or 4 maps like we did for Social Arena. So
yeah, maybe. Yeah.
But yeah.
It's an interesting take, yeah. I mean that being said, I didn't feel like that map got stale, like even once, to be honest. The rotation of the game modes definitely helped, which I guess we should talk about the game modes as well, because I mean your favorite was probably the what's it called? It's the point cap one.
Is it total control?
Yeah, something control. I think it's total control. Yeah.
Which
is really cool. So yeah, you have to hold all 3 points, and if you do, it gives your team a single point if you capture all 3, and then the map changes the location of the next 3 points, sort of thing, and then you build up to 3 total points scored. Yeah, that was really cool. I don't feel like there's been a game like that in Halo before. I feel like that's kind of new. Yeah, it played really well. It wasn't like a clusterfuck like you'd expect like headquarters to be in like Call of Duty or something like that. It was quite well spaced out. All the different points, they weren't so clustered together. And yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Yeah.
Because I think because we were talking about like fingers crossed for like an invasion game mode, and I think it's wishful thinking, but I think this is like it's kind of felt a bit like that, like you said, like Rush from Battlefield or whatever. I think a lot the way it played, because it plays differently to Social Arena, is in that you're not getting points for holding 2. You have to get all 3 to get 1 point, and then it's first to 3 or until the time runs out.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't know. I liked it when I initially like found out it was that. I was like, nobody's ever going to get a point, but it does happen. Like you just have to group up and push through the zones, and you do. It does happen. And you get so many moments where like you'll be like seconds off having all 3, and then someone will jump on a flag, and you're like, "Quick, go to B!" Or not flag, sorry, a zone. And so you get a lot of moments like that. And, you have like half the team like grappling like to the other side of the map or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. I thought I really liked that. And CTF felt great as well.
Yeah.
Man, I just love these objective modes.
Yeah, CTF is so refreshing to me. It's been so long since I played a capture the flag game mode in any way, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. I thought it was great for BTB. I thought working again, you'd think like 3 people just driving up in a Warthog, picking up the flag, getting in, and driving off would be an issue, but it's not, because there are so many tools to deal with these things, including like shot grenades to disable the vehicles, which by the way are really cool. I love those grenades. Maybe slightly too strong, but they're very cool.
They're quite oppressive.
Yeah, but they're definitely needed in the game, like 100%. But like maybe just toned down slightly. In terms of
Yeah.
damage, like the radius, I think is fine, but in terms of just damage, but yeah,
It's interesting though because I think like this is one of those things that as the game gets into people's hands, like we'll see like more of a meta evolve because those grenades like bounce around for a while. I can easily see people like getting into the habit of just repulsoring them away.
yeah,
You know, it's like damage over time, isn't it? Whereas the other grenades are like instant blow up.
yeah, that's true.
Whereas I haven't really seen anyone do that. You know,
Yeah,
oh my god, that means you can probably grapple them.
I hadn't even thought of that. I mean, why would you want to grapple it? It's just going to hurt you.
No, because you can ping it like behind you. You know.
Yeah, I guess. No, I don't.
Or if it goes past you, yeah.
Stop.
You
I don't think
you run past it, turn around, grapple it back to where it came from.
Okay, and then at that point you've just taken 3 BRs to the head and you're dead anyway.
At that point. You just get someone else to throw a drop ball down, it's fine.
God's sake. The repulsor would work, the grapple is stupid, don't listen to the deck.
Oh my god, I'm going to make it my mission to like do this and clip it.
But yeah, no, all the game modes were sick, map was sick. And yeah, maybe we'll jump into Social Arena a little bit tonight. And play that just as a change of pace. Now I know where your true feelings lie.
Well, I mean, they felt quite different. I think that's a good thing. You know, 4v4 was like, I liked the tightness of those maps. I think, you know, you're always like 2 seconds away from combat, whereas I think you did have some times. I had some times in BTB where like I would be running or like trying to get some weapons and then someone would appear on me and I'd die and I'd be like, oh, for fuck's sake. Or I'd spawn and there'd be some prick with a sniper somewhere and I'd die like, you know, 5 seconds off spawn or something like that. And it's just like, it's the nature of those types of games. You know, I think they're meant to have a bit of chaos. And if you're on the receiving end of that, it can kind of suck. But I mean, I'm still having loads of fun. Like it was a great time.
Yeah.
But you know, they're both amazing experiences. And like, I think I wanted to ask you sort of when Big Team Battle got announced, like back at E3 last year, I guess this year. They obviously said it's going to be 12v12 Big Team Battle. You know, it's the biggest Big Team Battle's ever been. I think it used to be 8v8. And a lot of people were like, "Well, what the fuck? Like 12v12? Well, that's nothing. Like Battlefield's coming out with like 60v60, you know, whatever it is." So, like, I wanted to ask you how you kind of felt that player count worked, and like, does the map accommodate that? Like, what do you think? Does it need more or not?
I think it felt pretty perfect for that map. Definitely. Obviously, they're probably going to experiment with the maps and have some smaller and a bit more chaotic and some larger and stuff like that. So, like, I'm sure because there were certain game modes, like I know, like Valhalla in the previous Halos, that playing that AV8 felt quite empty sometimes.
Yeah,
you were just literally just running around on grass quite a lot of the time, not doing too much. So yeah, I felt it felt pretty perfect, to be honest. At no point was I literally just like, well, actually, maybe a couple points where I was just like, oh, there's like 6 people here, but they're still capping flags like elsewhere. Like they're obviously just dispersing their numbers really well, and we weren't. But yeah, I didn't think it was too small or too large. Like you said, there was always someone quite close to you, but it was never just like 1 kill, 1 dead, 1 death, 1 kill, 1 death, 1 kill, 1 death. It wasn't that oppressive. It wasn't just one after the other, like a factory line of enemies. So
yeah,
I thought it felt pretty good.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I think it felt in terms of the player count, yeah, it felt perfect. I wouldn't ask for more. And I know like the maps are designed around that, but it feels like there's a lot going on. You know, I don't know if like 20v20, even on a bigger map, is there any point in that? Like, does it achieve anything? I guess that's probably the question the team like were asking themselves. So, you know, is there like what does it bring to have another 16 players in the lobby? I say nothing really. I mean,
yeah, no,
hitches in performance is probably going to be the only thing it impacts. So, like,
yeah. Plus, it's a different experience. Like I said, if there's a larger map and it's still 12v12 and the map feels slightly more empty, it just makes the game mode feel different as well. Like that map doesn't come up that often, so that change of pace is probably quite nice to a different B2B, BTB. map that you've been playing. It's not necessarily a bad thing to have it a little bit more empty on a larger map. It might be quite refreshing for a change, but yeah, I think 12v12 is fine. I don't think you need to go anything more excessive than that.
For sure.
Because the maps in Battlefield 2042, I think it's 2042, they're going to be ridiculous. They're going to be way bigger
massive.
than Fragmentation that we play. They're just, yeah. So that's the reason why it's 60 versus 60. If you put 60 versus 60 on Fragmentation, you wouldn't be able to move. It'd just be everyone elbowing each other's backs. And then the game's over.
Yeah. Definitely. I think, like, because I wanted to touch on just before we wrapped up, I guess, like, in terms of balance, like, everything we spoke about last week, like, remains the same, I think you'll agree. Mm-hmm. The only thing that we had this week that we haven't had since the very first flight, so that you never got to play, was the Recon Pulse, which I think needs a bit of a buff, but, you know, I think across the board, some things need tweaking here and there. Nothing feels super OP, nothing feels super underpowered, but I think there could be a bit of balancing across the board with a couple of things. And I think the Recon Pulse is one of them.
Yeah,
I think Radius needs to be bigger. It's just like I pick that up and I'm like, that's fine, but like if I'm poking out to fire that, I can die in big team battle. I can get team shot like before I even get back behind cover, and it's like, what have I achieved? Like, not much. I think it needs to last longer, and it needs a bigger radius to actually be worth it.
Yeah, because it's cool, and there's definitely some potential there because you can stick it to teammates, you can stick it to vehicles, you can stick it to all sorts of stuff, and have like a mobile recon. So like the potential's there, but I agree. It just needs more range and last a little bit longer. Ping more maybe, or maybe it works similar to like Bloodhound is in Apex, where after it pulses them, it just tracks their movements for 1 to 2 seconds through a wall or something, something like that.
Yeah. I think that needs a little bit of a touch. But other than that, everything we said last week remains the same. Mm-hmm. Tim, are we ready to move on from big team battle?
I want to talk about Halo all day, but yeah, sure.
Well, we've got a bit more Halo stuff. I guess before we go on to sort of the leaked battle pass, I just wanted to mention that over this weekend, Twitch viewers for Halo, a game which has not released yet, exceeded COD and Fortnite.
Boom.
Halo is a franchise that people have been saying, trolls have been saying is dead for like the best part of 10 years now. It's bullshit, isn't it? Halo still has a lot of prestige and merit behind its name, and people hear that and they're like, "Oh, I'll give it a go." Oh, people are saying this one's really good, and like I said, all these YouTubers, like even I saw like Skill Up earlier today saying Halo is like one of the best multiplayer games that I've ever played. It's like fucking hell. Like these people are saying like really high words of praise, and it's crazy. Overtaking Fortnite is a big deal, and that's imagine what those numbers will be on launch.
No, there's definitely so much prestige behind Halo. You could pretty much ask any professional FPS esports player or anyone who streams for a living and is considered very good at COD or Fortnite or anything. They have pretty much all. They would almost all say that they've come from a background of Halo. Like almost all of them.
So the heritage.
Yeah. There's so much prestige behind the name. It's ridiculous, and they'll all go back to it if it's good. So like, yeah, for sure. That's great, but it doesn't surprise me. Actually, it kind of does in the fact that it's a flighting, it's not a release game, but on full release, it would not surprise me that Halo is overtaking Warzone, Fortnite, and all these big titles. To be honest,
yeah, I think it's interesting because I think if you'd asked me rather, like, will Halo's numbers overtake Fortnite and COD, like during the flightings or like whatever on launch, like before we'd seen the multiplayer or maybe even played it, I would have been like, probably not. Like just because like the Halo, and I don't think it's just necessarily the Halo community. There's like trolls in contouring, whatever. The like it's like the vocal minority thing. All you hear about Halo is negative, and it's so even though it's not, like, it always sells like amazingly, and it always reviews really well. At minimum, the worst reviewed Halo is like 84 or something. So yeah, that's right. That's not like a spin-off or Halo Wars or whatever. So yeah, but I think after having seen it and after having now played it, I'm not surprised. The game is fucking awesome. Like it's really good.
So
It's
good.
it's in its own space as well. There's nothing that feels quite like it. Which I think is a lot of what everybody wanted, and it's why people are watching because they're like, oh, hang on a minute. I think they've got something really special on their hands here, and there's no element that makes me doubt that. There's not like let's wait for launch. The only thing that because they've flighted it, the matchmaking works. There's a few like things here and there on the UI that needs like fixing. But you'd expect the stuff you'd expect. But the game feels like it could ship like next week, like the multiplayer part of it. So I have no doubt that the multiplayer is going to be amazing and probably hit numbers higher than this. So I think it bodes well, right? It bodes well.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess while we're talking about like bugs in matchmaking, there was that issue where it kind of puts you into like a battlefield squad, doesn't it? But it doesn't do it with the people you queued with like quite a lot of the time. So I found myself not being able to spectate you or our other friends that we were playing with, and I was just only kind of allowed to spectate these random people. Small little bugs like that. It wasn't a game changer. But yeah, I've had no hiccups. I've had no lag. I've had no like server dropouts or
no performance issues either.
Performance issues. Yeah, it feels polished. Like, yeah, if there were more maps and game modes, you could slap a price tag on that bad boy, and it's kind of good to go.
Definitely.
So, yeah.
I guess the only thing that would concern me is like the amount in it, like the amount of game modes, the amount of maps, but we covered that leak the other week that was like maybe like 23 maps, but that's pinch of salt stuff. But as long as there's because Halo 5 got kind of blasted for being not having enough at launch, but because of how polished this is and the fact that we've already seen 4 maps, like it just makes me think like I think there's a lot to go by here, So
it's a pretty safe bet.
I mean,
at this point,
yeah, right. And we know there are other like game modes, and there have been leaks of other maps as well. Like like Oddball showing off in the original trailer. There have been leaks of other maps that are like definitely in the files, and that's like so. As long as there's enough there, I think they're looking at a really high score for the multiplayer component, like really high. So just more props to the team, really.
Yeah,
they must be reveling in it after like all of the doubt and the the uncertainty around and feedback they got after the campaign. They must be loving all of the sort of positive energy around it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, bathe in it.
Good on them.
Enjoy it.
I want to see actually. That's probably we can come back to this another time. That's fine. I was going to ask you about like the customization and stuff because obviously you didn't have a chance to fiddle around with it last week and the progression. But I mean, it kind of ties into this, which is like the battle pass. So let's just cover this and then you can tell me what you think. So. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at it. I know it's like really small and the picture I've put on the notes, but you can zoom into it if you go on the Reddit link that it came from, which was on Gaming Leaks and Rumors subreddit. But I think my overall thoughts from what I'm seeing on this battle pass is that if it's real, again, pinch of salt, tablespoon of salt. It's 120 levels long, not your standard 100. These are long battle passes. And there's some really cool stuff in here. But the free tracks are quite barren.
Yeah, they're kind of garbage.
They're not terrible, but there isn't much there. There's a lot of like nothing levels, especially as you get past the halfway mark, which none of this is uncommon for a battle pass. You get some stuff. There's some like purple stuff and quote unquote legendary rarity stuff in there. But it's a lot of like challenge re-rolls and XP boosts, which is, I think, it's to be expected. But it's the only reservation I have about it. You can't expect them to make this multiplayer game that we've now sung praises about for 2 weeks in a row to be free and then not have like this incentivization to monetize. So
yeah, I agree. And it's one of those things where it's going to be an investment, isn't it? You're definitely going to get your money's back, your money back with this. I'm not sure if it's going to work like Apex and stuff. Does it give like currency in here, like the actual like store currency. Like
It
you,
doesn't look like
because
it.
you know, like Apex, you can basically earn. If you complete it, you basically have earned what you spent back, and you can buy the next season's battle pass with it. You know, that sort of thing.
Apex is actually quite stingy with that. They only give you like 500 coins. They don't give you the full amount, but yeah, they do give you some currency back.
I always thought
But
it was pretty much the whole thing, but maybe I'm mistaken.
nah. But no, it doesn't look like it. But you know, again, it's one of those things that these battle passes don't expire. So I guess at any point you could really go back and say, actually, you know, I got 60 levels in. You know, fuck it. Let's buy it and you know polish it off. You know, which I think is really cool. Like you don't have to feel pressured. You know, it eliminates the FOMO, doesn't it? Like you can not spend a penny. You know, let's see if I like Halo first. 1 month down the line, still playing it. All right, well, actually, I'm having a good time. I know the second one's out, but let's go and finish the first one. I'll put a bit of money into it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Um, and if it
Um,
is real, it confirms the existence of. Well, this one, obviously, the first, I should be clear, the first Battle Pass is focused around Halo Reach.
mhm.
So there are lots of like armor themes here. They call them armor themes, so I don't know what that means. I
I
think
assume it's like a it's like
it's like a set.
yeah, exactly. It's like an outfit you can put on that no matter what armor you've got equipped or whatever, it will theme your armor to that sort of thing, like all the pieces of your armor. Um,
Yeah,
yeah. So I mean, I'm trying to think of an example. They definitely have them in like RPGs where you can put on like an entire outfit, and it basically just
yeah,
no matter what you're wearing, you always look like that sort of thing. I
yeah.
imagine it's that. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And so, you know, there's, you know, if it is true, there's some really, you know, pretty iconic characters here. There's George, there's John, um, yeah, and then quite a few of the different. Emil is there as well. So there's them, and there's also, you know, again, it confirms armor effects if those are real, and death effects as
Yeah.
well, which I think are all really nice, nice little flares.
I love those
Sometimes I don't just
things.
want armor pieces. Yeah,
Yeah. What is weapon death effects?
I think that's just a death
That's
effect,
just
but
death. Okay. All right.
I
That's fine.
think so. But it might be that that's something that's equipable on like particular weapons. Like I don't know.
Yeah. Perhaps if you kill someone with a BR, then they do a special dying animation as opposed to just killing them with someone with your magnum that doesn't have an effect on it.
Right.
Um, yeah. I mean, all those things we loved in Reach and Halo 3 and stuff like that. We enjoyed all those armor effects and everything.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to see them come back. You know, some people might think of them as goofy and like a bit silly or whatever, but it's like it's just something to chase, especially like yeah, I mean back then it was obviously the currency system, so you saved up for them and it was a really big deal when you actually got one. But yeah, it's just something to chase and something to equip and yeah, it's cool. I
Yeah.
like it. I have nothing
I,
against it.
I same, and I like the idea of there being like a. I mean, you know, it'll be different from season to season, but at least for this one, you know, there's an armor effects at the very end on the paid version, a rank 120 called Judgment Crown. I obviously don't know what it is. Maybe it's like a little fiery crown on your head. Um,
Mm.
and you know, you look at that and you know someone's gotten to the very end of the battle pass, and you know, same for everything. You know, like same with Apex, you get to the end, you see someone with a gun, but it's cool because you can see someone from a distance with an armor effect, you know, or on their armor. Whereas Apex doesn't have that luxury because it's a hero shooter, and you know, you have skins, but it's not
Yeah,
the same thing really. Um, so yeah,
it's
it
cool.
looks good to me.
Yeah.
If it's something like this,
Yeah, no, I mean, I've looked through most of it. I've skimmed through most of it as we're talking about it, and I'd be pretty happy to pay for this. I mean, it's the sort of thing I'm always probably going to pay for because I just enjoy playing the game, right? So, and the multiplayer is free, so it's just like I put a little bit of money into it, and it's just it's rewarding me for playing the game that I'm enjoying playing, right? So
yeah,
it seems like a no brainer to me. Um,
yeah,
and yeah, the stuff looks great. I'm happy with how it looks. I do agree with the free track though. That could use a little bit of love, but you know
Hmm.
they're trying to incentivize a pay track. I don't think the price of this is going to be extortionate. No more than your normal £9 to £14 around that sort of area. I would imagine. Um,
yeah.
And like I said, the multiplayer is free for everyone. They're just trying to incentivize you to spend a little bit, and you get some cool shit for it. So
Yeah.
you know,
Absolutely, and because they don't expire, you can always come back to it later.
Yeah.
Supposedly, there has been some whispers that you'll get the first battle pass if you purchase the campaign, because obviously the campaign will be full price. So supposedly that's something they might chuck in there, which would be nice, but
yeah,
no biggie if not.
yeah.
Alrighty. Yeah. Okay. We'll swing around to the whole progression talk, I think, at a later date, but that's maybe the leaked season 1 battle pass. So, are we away from Halo now? I think we might be. We are. We're on to the Tokyo Game Show, buddy. You watched this, right?
I didn't watch it. No.
Oh,
No.
watched the highlights.
Yeah.
I didn't watch either.
I didn't. I don't think I even watched the highlights. I read the highlights, all the bullet points and articles and stuff like that. I did kind of mean to watch it, but I'm going to be honest. I didn't know what the date was, and it kind of just flew under the radar. I think I was probably around to watch it, but I actually just didn't know when or where. I know.
Yeah. Well, obviously, it just wasn't targeted at us, was it? So it's like, yeah, it wasn't being pushed in our face like an E3 does, you know.
Yeah.
But there was some cool stuff there. There was something there that you were interested in, wasn't there?
Yeah. I mean, what these? Are you talking about the Scarlet Nexus on Games Pass?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I've been. I mean, I've looked at that game a while back, and I thought that looks pretty cool. But then I never actually chased it up for like its reviews and stuff like that, because I know it's been out for a few months now, if not longer.
Yeah.
I never chased it up for its reviews, and when I saw it come on Games Pass, I was like, oh, I remember that game. I remember looking like that, looked quite cool. And I looked up the review, and I was like, this game's kind of shit hot. And I was like, that's pretty cool, man. And one of our other mates has gone and downloaded that as well. He was pleasantly surprised that was on Games Pass. So yeah, it's just
solid 80 on OpenCritic.
Yeah, it's just a cool JRPG. So quite a high action JRPG as well. It's been quite fast paced combat and stuff like that. So I'll definitely give that a go once I finish with Final Fantasy.
Yeah, it's definitely something that, you know, the Xbox is like, they're trying to plug that hole, aren't they? With obviously not just Japanese support, but getting Japanese games on Games Pass. I don't know if I think because like regionally it doesn't change regionally, right? But maybe I wonder if that's something they should do. Like, it's the same across the board everywhere, because, you know, like sometimes games with gold is different in different places, but that's a different reason, I guess. I think it like depends if like games are banned in that place or whatever. So
are you talking, is Games Pass different for different regions? Like if you were to go onto Netflix in like Tokyo, they've got different shit on there as opposed to the UK one. I think it's the same all round. I think
it is as well, but I was just thinking, like, I wonder if that'd be beneficial to them, because obviously they're trying to get more of the Japanese audience in, and like they said, like I think Phil said at the game show, Tokyo Game Show, that like Japan is the quickest growing market at the moment for Xbox. Like, and you know, that could be it could be that 100 Xboxes sold this year and like 500 sold this year. So like, wow, huge, you know, 5 times bigger. But you know, it seems to be, I'm seeing some regular updates of like Xbox Series S in particular being on the Amazon most sold list quite a lot in Japan. So it seems to be getting a bit of traction. They like small things over there. So a tiny Xbox is quite appealing. And I guess as well, they want, like, some publishers are being weird about putting Japanese games on Xbox because they don't think there's a market for it. So I think just by getting these, like Scarlet Nexus, getting these games on Games Pass to generate more interest, it proves to those publishers, look, like there is an interest here, or we'll just pay you a big wad of money and put it on Games Pass. You know, you don't have anything to lose.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, something like, I think, what were a couple of games? Like Neo, I think? Maybe that was published by Sony.
Yeah.
It was, but what I don't know is, like, some games just skip Xbox because the developers or the publishers don't think it's worth the energy to develop for it.
Mm-hmm.
Persona was the same. Persona was like one of the best games of the generation, and it didn't release on Xbox just because the publishers were like, nobody will buy it on Xbox. So it was an exclusive for like no reason, basically.
Yeah.
So it's weird.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all
So I
about
think,
just gaining the sort of the trust and just being like, don't be scared. Your games will be loved over on this platform. So everyone go download Scarlet Nexus so we get more JRPGs,
yeah, it's true.
because
That should
I
definitely
like a
happen.
JRPG, and you should
Yeah,
too, because they're good.
you should
They're
do.
just
And there's
RPGs but better in quite a lot of ways. Not every way,
wow, quite the take.
not in every way, but they're definitely they got a lot more meat on the bones. There's a lot more to sink your teeth into, but they're a lot weirder as well. So
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, nonetheless, like it's good that the diversity is good. There are quite a few Japanese games on there now. We've got like Octopath Traveler, and there are some Final Fantasies on there as well, aren't there?
mhm.
Dragon Quest, if memory serves.
Yep,
So
correct.
it is good. They aren't always for me,
Nia
but
is Nia still
I
on there?
understand. Nia. Oh, I don't know. I don't think it is
Doesn't
anymore. But
matter.
yeah, that was amazing.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think it's definitely good. It's just one of those things that Games Pass excels at. Exposure. Um, and speaking of exposure, one of the things that also got announced was xCloud support finally in Australia, Brazil, Japan, and Mexico. Hasn't been a thing,
Woo.
which is obviously again like trying to get into the Japanese market of like they like playing on their phones. Like phones are like the most popular platform to be gaming on over there. So as xCloud gets better, that's just going to be
Huge.
well. The hope is, yeah, I suppose that it's going to be huge. The only problem being I can see is that with the Switch being as popular as it is, like, is that I guess if phones are still popular despite the Switch, like, yeah, maybe, but
Yeah, I think it's a good market to tap into. Definitely. Yeah, for whatever reason they love mobile gaming.
they do.
I don't know why.
I don't get it.
I don't
Yeah.
think I've been. It's so not interesting to me in like every way. I can't remember the last time I played a mobile game. Maybe it's Hearthstone count. I don't know. Like it's been so, but yeah, I don't
It
know.
does.
It's really popular out there. It's clearly, yeah, it's good to tap into that. And again, they'll get to experience all the Xbox exclusives and stuff like that, and just playing it and using it on their phone, and they'll be like, oh, actually, this stuff's actually kind of pretty cool, man. So
Mm.
might inspire them to buy a home console as well.
Yeah, and I think that's where the synergy of Games Pass comes in, right? If they get an Xbox, or even they don't get an Xbox, they're able to transfer saves, play something on the go, and that's the benefit of that is obvious. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So there's those two things. We also had an Arcane appearance, Arcane Studios, and a Bethesda Game Studios appearance from God Howard himself. They both announced that Redfall and Starfield, respectively, will have full Japanese voice support. There'll be over 150,000 lines of dialogue in Starfield, just total, which is more than Skyrim or Fallout. That's a bloody lot of lines.
It's a lot.
So nothing but good things to say there. They even showed a little clip of Redfall, of like the original Redfall trailer with the full voiceover Japanese support, and it was a bit jarring because I don't know, just wasn't what I was used to seeing.
Yeah.
But it's great that the obviously the support is there.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah. Awesome.
Other than that, small game announcements. Can't remember any. The only one I remember is a game called Lapin, which was about a really cute little bunny, and I actually kind of want to play it
Because you love
it looks
bunnies.
really cute. Yeah, I do love bunnies. I'll have to have a look when that comes out. Actually, anyway, that was Tokyo Game Show in a nutshell. Lots of sort of signaling that they're still interested in Japan and want to keep pushing the market forward.
Yeah.
In our next story, Dolby Vision comes to Xbox exclusively. So
Whoa.
yeah, I know. So if your TV supports Dolby Vision, and they did videos to show the difference, and I had to look into this because it turns out on Samsung TVs they do HDR10 Plus, which is like their version of Dolby Vision.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't get it on my TV because Samsung think they have a software equivalent. But for those that do, definitely check it out. Looks delightful. Did you manage to check on yours if it did?
I didn't actually check. No, I mean I've got an LG. I need to check the actual model, but I can't imagine it does. It's a fairly old TV now. I bought it when 4K was basically first became a thing, and I was just like, okay, I'll get a 4K TV. But yeah, I imagine it probably doesn't. I am due for an upgrade, but it's worth looking into. Yeah.
I was actually looking at. It reminds me, I was looking at a while back. We spoke about Xbox doing like a design for Xbox like brand stamp on some things.
Yeah,
like
they
partnered
just
up
slap
with
their logo on it, so Yeah.
right, and they did it on a Philips TV. Called the Philips Momentum, and it's actually out now. I was having a look, and it's like some on Amazon for like £1,100 around that.
Okay.
And it looks delightful. Like it supports everything. There's a sound bar built in. There's like lights on the back of it to project onto the wall if you want that. And it supports all the fancy features.
Mm-hmm.
So I was looking at. It's not something I'm going to get anytime soon, but I like the idea of those things, and
For
it
the
just
man
reminded
cave.
me. Yeah, exactly. We were talking about how good like Halo feels. Imagine that game running at 120 frames.
It'd be insane.
I can't even imagine it.
Yeah, it'd be crazy. Yeah, it's almost kind of worth the upgrade for a release like that, isn't it?
Yeah. I'll send you the link.
Yeah, do it. Give me that link.
Cool. All right. In other Games Pass news, Avengers joined Game Pass this week on September the 30th, following, I think it was the Black Panther expansion was like, what, a month ago now or something?
Yeah, it was quite recent, yeah.
The sentiment has been pretty positive around that from what I hear.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know how the game's doing like nowadays. I mean, it's obviously one of those games that is getting better and better, and I'm hearing that tide starting to turn a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah. What's your take on this?
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts on it are obviously great. I feel like you said, it's a game that's only getting better. I think most people consider it a pretty good title now. It had a rough start. But yeah, I mean, in my eyes, though, it's not really something. I've watched gameplay of it, admittedly way back when, so I haven't checked out recent gameplay and recent content and stuff. But it didn't really catch my attention so much. And if I'm going to play any kind of looter-esque co-op RPG kind of game, whatever this is, it's like a mixture of so many genres. I'd go to Destiny 2, which we played recently and been enjoying. And with stuff like Redfall coming out next year or whatever, it's just these games take a lot of your time. Like if you want to do them properly, they take a lot of time and there's a lot of effort that has to go into them. And to me, it's not really a title that's worth that for me. But I know a lot of people are going to be very excited about this because I do think it's a cool, fun, casual game as well that appeals to a lot of Marvel fans. You don't need to be a hardcore gamer just to enjoy a title like this. So I think it's great. Cool.
And it was like the most obvious Games Pass like candidate ever. Like since the game launched, I'll be like, that's going to go to Games Pass one day. It's going to happen. So it doesn't surprise me at all that it came. I'm surprised it took as long as it did, to be honest. I think I would kind of like to. At some point, I would kind of like to play it, and I just like to play the campaign, like whatever the loot side of it is, whatever. But I wouldn't mind just like going through it, solo or co-op or whatever. Just like you say, just like giving it a go casually while it's there, because I do like the Marvel universe and everything, and it would be nice to give it a go while it's on.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Next up, Scorn seems to have been delayed to 2022. This is because a press release from the new interactive supergroup, right? It's like I guess it's like a merger. Maybe it's not a merger. I don't know. I'm not a businessman. A collection of like developers called Kepler Interactive, which includes the Scorn developer Ebb Software. They said in their press release that, or rather, yeah, they listed Scorn as a 2022 release. This hasn't been like official yet, but it's kind of. I think they listed at Xbox's E3, they listed Scorn as a 2021 release still. So I imagine they're going to come out in the next few months and say SOS going to delay to 2022, which is a shame because we saw it in like May 2020.
Yeah.
I mean, pandemic things, I get it. But I always remember thinking this game looks really good, like graphically.
Yes.
And it's like graphically really good, and it looks obviously very imaginative. And it would have been a perfect candidate for like Spooktober, an exclusive game release. I think it's Series X and S only, a visual powerhouse, get people talking about Xbox over Halloween. But, is what it is.
Yeah, this was the one that gave me pretty Prometheus vibes.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, it was gross.
Very fleshy.
Yeah.
Everything's like organic and like squelchy.
Yeah, it was kind of gross looking. I feel like this game kind of just was announced. And then they kind of just dug themselves underground and have been silent ever since, and now they've come out with a delay. I don't feel like I've heard anything about this game since I saw that fleshy trailer in 2020.
It's weird because there's like gameplay online. There's gameplay
really?
of it.
Oh.
Yeah, there's like a maybe like 5-minute gameplay walkthrough.
No idea.
So it's just a vertical slice, I guess, but yeah.
Okay. But yeah, obviously it's a shame. It's always a shame when a game gets delayed. But I always say the same thing. Whereas if they need to make it better, they're not happy with the final product, and so be it. But yeah, it would have been a really cool release around this sort of time. Because I definitely do like to bust out the horror games around October, and I can't be the only person. So yeah,
definitely. We have a small update on the whole Perfect Dark Crystal Dynamics thing. For those who maybe have missed this or maybe didn't listen to the podcast last week, it was announced that Crystal Dynamics were teaming up with Perfect Dark, either on an outsourcing level or on like a team up level with the initiative, the developers of Perfect Dark, keeping the creative, like direction essentially, which seems to be the case. There was an update on that. Jeff Grubb at GameSpeak did a bit of good old journalism. I was about to say Germanism. Don't do that. It's the story is as obvious as it gets. So like with these sorts of things, Occam's razor always applies. Occam's razor states that the explanation with the least assumptions should always be your go-to. So when people are going down the conspiracy rabbit hole of like, this must mean the game's in development, how, they can't handle this by themselves, there must be like creative difficulty. It's COVID. There's a pandemic and they wanted a bit more help to ramp up development. Like it's just the easiest explanation, and that's what it almost always is. Life is often boring like that. It's almost always the easy and boring explanation. And obviously we didn't mention it last week, but like the creative lead at the initiative, Daryl Gallagher, he used to be the lead at Crystal Dynamics, so they're already a history there. And so I think we said last week, like supposedly some insiders are saying this is like a test to see how they do for a possible acquisition down the line, which is a bit weird because they're still owned by Square Enix, but like it's being looked at kind of, if they do really well and they work well with Xbox, and Square Enix are maybe looking to get rid of them because of the whole Avengers thing, underperforming. It's on the cards, so yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah,
makes sense. Sneaky ZeniMax Online, always being very sneaky. They're always up to something, that ZeniMax Online. They've opened up a office in Montreal, which is
just casual. Just open up a new office.
Just open another office, yeah. Yeah, and like we know it's weird because we know they're working on like a new IP, and I don't know if this is the team that's working on a new IP, but they seem to be working on sneaky stuff. I think they've got like 2 unannounced games in development now. And they're in like an MMO studio, so it interests me. It interests me greatly to see what they're doing.
Yeah, for sure, man. I wonder if it will still be MMO, whatever they're doing. I mean, I'm assuming it's all still top secret. No one knows. It's all
Yeah, no one knows.
But hey, I'd love to see more console MMOs games come out. You know, ESO didn't quite catch me drift, but there's nothing a new IP might. So, but yeah, I have to admit they are quite sneaky. They're always just like low key, just announcing new things and they're just lurking in the dark, man.
They're always doing something. Yeah,
they're like the Gollum of game studios.
Yeah, and it's an interesting time for this news to come about because obviously, like a lot of people have been saying, like the MMO genre is kind of fading. Like with World of Warcraft, kind of, it's obviously still a titan in that space, but it's like nowhere near as big as it used to be, and like shared world, so like games are like seem to be taking that crown a bit more. But in the wake of the New World release, Amazon Game Studios' first game, New World's doing well, man. It's really doing well. Yeah, it's reviewing well. It's got like 700,000 players in the first day. I'm pretty sure I didn't pull that number out of my ass. I'm pretty sure I read that somewhere. It's doing really well. And like a lot of people are saying, like this could be the new MMO, or at very least a World of Warcraft competitor. So it's a really interesting time for this stuff to happen. So
yeah,
we'll have to wait and see if it is an MMO that they're working on or not.
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of these things where people say the MMO genre is just a bit dry, maybe at the time, is because I do think these games just take a long time to develop as well. They're such insanely big games, and the amount of stress that the sort of servers go through to hold that many people and do all that. It's very tough to make. There's probably quite a few studios making them, and ZeniMax being one of them as well. But they kind of just take time as well. But
yeah. So, but I think there has been a bit of maybe I don't know enough about the genre, but it feels like the genre hasn't had any real innovation in a long time. So like people get put off because you know what to expect with an MMO. It's Radiant quests, it's fetch quests. There's some raids which will be fun. You play around with your friends. Limited combat systems, loads of loot usually.
It's always high fantasy.
Yeah, it's always high fantasy. So I think that is maybe part of the fatigue. But New World also being high fantasy, from what I've seen, it seems to have like recaptured a bit of that flair that MMOs had back in the day. So it's we'll have to see how it continues to do, because it's quite interesting. That see World of Warcraft get some competition. Oh, supposedly coming into sort of the more Xbox Game Studios part of the podcast, supposedly Hellblade 2 might make an appearance at the Game Awards. We've speculated this before. We might actually just be geniuses. I mean, it's possible, right? It is possible that we just have big galaxy brains.
Yeah,
and we know what's up.
Definitely, I think it's more than possible. It's likely. Yeah, it's not guaranteed. So it's not to our own horse. But...
No, I like tooting. You don't stop me tooting. This was confirmed by Jeff Grubb on the Defining Duke Xbox podcast over there. That podcast that they do. But not confirmed. Sorry, this is what he spoke about, that he thinks that's the plan.
Yeah.
And we've said that that we think that's possible. Hellblade 2 was announced at the Video Game Awards 2 years ago. 1 year ago. I can't remember.
I think
it was a 2. Yeah, which would be obvious. That Hellblade 2 is one of my most anticipated games from Xbox Game Studios. It's going to melt faces. Skin is going to drip down your face and blind you at how good that game is going to look. Yeah, sorry. Well, don't look. Don't look. Look away. So huge anticipation for that game, and it's one of the, and I hate to say it, but it's one of the games that I think Xbox needs to alter public perception. A lot of people want a response from Xbox for the third person, over the shoulder, action adventure, story driven game, and this is that. So big fingers crossed for this. You know, I'm expecting like a decent sized presence at the Game Awards. Not huge, but like, you know, small to medium.
Yeah. And I mean, we were talking about a potential other presence at the Game Awards. We might as well do another Galaxy Brain prediction while we're on the topic.
We were. There had been some teasing from some other insiders about, and it seems to be, fingers seem to be pointing to Avowed. Nobody said it. Like, nobody has outright said Avowed. Jez said, like, yeah. Jez tweeted, like, I'm really excited for Avowed now. Like, out of nowhere. And then he's just said, like, that's all I'll say or something, you know. And a couple of other people. Yeah, it is sus. It's very sus. And a lot of people have been saying, like, I just saw something which is like an Xbox game, which is amazing. You'll hear about it soon. Like, you know, just things like that. And soon indicates to me this year, what's the next Xbox big, the next big Xbox presence? It's the Game Awards. So it's not impossible, but I do think at the same time, that's quite big. Like, to do it, like, if, let's say it's like a Hellblade 2 gameplay trailer and then an Avowed gameplay trailer, that's
mental.
That is pretty big. They're two massive games. And I don't even know if they're ever going to be coming out in 2022, you know.
I don't know, actually. Yeah, they're both question marks for 2022, aren't they? I'd like to say probably 2023 for those titles. If I was to just be like, here's Tim's guess, you know, it's Tim's guess time. It's that time of the show.
It's my favorite time. Yeah,
I'd probably say they're 2023 games. Just it's like a hunch, it's like a gut feeling, but yeah, they're question marks for 2022, definitely.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, I think, you know, I've spoken. Was it Avowed? I think it was Avowed we spoke about before, like the possibility of something else launching in 2022. And my thing was that I don't think it's likely we see anything else in 2022, like big, you know, from the first party team, because Starfield and Redfall are both coming out in the back half. So it's like nothing's going to be ready to go in the next 6 months unless they're really like, that would be a surprise. Like, logically, I just can't expect that to be the case. So I reckon early to mid 23 for Hellblade and Avowed. If we do see them. If we don't see one of these, then it's maybe a bit further back. But but, you know, it's not off the cards. I don't think Avowed has been in development a long time. We know they're a super efficient studio. You know, I imagine their plan was to probably have released it already or this year, but pandemic has slowed them down a bit. So, you know, who knows? But I'm definitely going to be tuning into the Game Awards this year. Yeah, excited to see that.
For sure.
You need to play Hellblade 1.
No.
Okay, great. Good chat.
I might do.
It's a short game, 12 hours.
Jesus.
Last news story of the day. Yeah, we did it. We rushed through.
Nice.
We spoke about Redfall. Arcane's vampire looter shooter kind of game.
Oh, I'm getting moist.
We got some screenshots for that last year, and we have had some news, at the very least. Well, the news seems to indicate, due to job listings, that id Software, you know, developers of Doom, are assisting Redfall, assisting on the development of Redfall. Which, what does that say to you, man?
They're going to help with the shooting,
which is great, because that's the one thing, like we spoke about. When we spoke about Redfall a couple of months ago, you know, like the idea of like Arcane make these amazing games, but the one thing that there is a weakness is maybe the shooting. It's not dreadful. It's just, and with this sort of like looter shooter game, like you need some good shooting. Doom obviously feels great. So yeah, this warms my little Arcane heart.
Yeah. No, there's definitely, it makes me very happy to know that a very successful studio in this space of shooters is helping out a game that already seems to have such a solid foundation. And one of our concerns was, will the shooting live up to scratch? Because you've got to bear in mind, if it's a looter shooter, like I said, with like Avengers and Destiny and all that, they're very commitment heavy games. Like these games you tend to put a lot of time into. So you need the combat to feel good. Otherwise, you're just going to lose interest and it's just going to become stale quick. So yeah, them. I mean, obviously it's not guaranteed, but my gut feeling is that it's coming on to help with that aspect of the project. So yeah, Yeah, that makes me really
Yeah.
happy.
I mean, and it might be the case that since they're I mean, this is Arcane. Oh God, Arcane Austin. Arcane Austin. Right. Yeah. There's Austin, obviously America, and Leon, obviously France. And Leon just put out Deathloop. So, and obviously we haven't played Deathloop, so we don't know what the shooting's like in that game. But there's a good chance that there's been a big step up to since then. The last game before that was Prey, even though it was made by Austin and not Leon. The shooting in Prey was like fine,
Yeah,
serviceable. But again, most of the games Arcane make are not shooters. They're like sims. They're immersive sims. First, you can have shooting without being a shooter. So yeah, maybe Deathloop was already halfway there, but this is hopefully something that really pushes them over the line with that, because I trust them with every other aspect of the game.
Oh yeah,
Making shooting feel nice is not easy unless you have experience in that area, which it obviously do. So fingers crossed. More waiting and seeing. We'll never really know until we get our fingers on it, until our hands on it, really. So
fingers on
fingers. Yeah, I don't know why I said that.
We got our fingers on it. I mean, technically, it's true. We game with our fingers, but like, it's just
So
weird.
oddly specific.
Yeah, it's such a yeah. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Oh,
yeah. So until we get our fingers on it, we won't know. But in the meantime, that's all your news for the week, ladies and gents.
Yeah.
It's been an honor. Well, we're gonna go at some food, probably play some more Halo later. Tim, I hope you feel better, man.
Thanks,
man. Leave us some comments. Share with your friends. Share with your colleagues, your dog, your grandma. You know the drill.
Yeah. Wish me better in the comments, otherwise I'll be ill forever.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Do it.
All right, guys, we're going to get out of here. Look after your pets. Drink some orange juice.
Sake.
Have a coffee in the morning. You deserve it. Unless you don't like caffeine. You have caffeine if you want it, man. Don't worry. It's part of a balanced diet. Bye.
Bye.